Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Kashif Booth podcast. If you're new here, each week I sit down with a guest. We discuss their career so far, the highs, the lows, and what's next for them. Today's guest is writer-director Dean Leon Anderson. Welcome to the show, Dean.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, good, man. Yeah.
Well, it's great to have you on as a guest. You know, I was just saying to you before, like, you've been on my list for ages, but this has been a very long season, so I just need to kind of like go for everybody. There's probably going to be about almost 30 episodes. So yeah, so welcome to the show.
I was gonna say, I got to give you your flowers because
Thank you.
you seem. I mean, since I've seen you, you seem to be doing so many things. So I'm just like, wow, he's producing this, he's done this series, he's doing podcasts. You seem to be across everything. So yeah.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Well, I try, I definitely try. Weirdly you say that, I'm actually slowing down just a bit just to kind of refocus my career and go in a more of a distinct direction because, I feel very stagnant. So
Right.
I've done enough. People keep saying my names are in rooms and stuff, but I'm like, but I'm not transcending in those rooms. Does that make sense?
Right.
So so it's kind of understanding your brand and the direction. So but I appreciate that. So it's really cool. So how did you get started?
So I do so much things, but like yourself, I want to kind of focus on one thing, and right now that's film as a director. But I started in television. I think you did as well.
Yes, I did.
Is that right?
Yeah. I started in factual TV.
Yeah. I started in entertainment. So basically, after actually studying media, which was very varied, which was magazines and film, TV, etc. that we studied. I got an internship at. I did work experience at Nickelodeon.
Nice.
And then I did an internship at MTV, which was about 9 months. And that was probably my dream job at the time because I was meeting everyone you can think of, Kanye West, John Legend, when he was just starting, just all the people I just admired at the time. I was just meeting. That was like probably my best job ever. But once that had sort of finished, I didn't know kind of what I wanted to do because MTV was, started outsourcing their TV shows, to other companies. So there wasn't much to do at MTV. And then I met someone, Mustafa Kesabati, a director. He was starting in short films. And he got some funding from a company called B3 Media. And because I wanted to get into film, and I didn't know how, I didn't have any contacts or things like that, I just asked him if I could, just help him just make the film. I think he got some money from BBC Films. I just came on board as like an assistant producer, learned how he directed, tried to go back to the same company to ask for funding, didn't get a penny.
No.
So I started realizing you kind of have to like fund your own projects, and that was the reason they didn't give me anything because I didn't have anything to show basically, which I didn't know at the time. But long story short, I started making my own projects, self-funding them, and ironically enough, my last project they funded. So
Look at that full cycle moment.
Full circle, yeah. Took a long time, but yeah, Class 15, they put some money towards, so took a long time, but they got there.
Nice. I like the point you made about how when you try to get funding, they wouldn't give you the money because you hadn't done anything. That was my realization quite early on. I never applied for anything, but when I decided in 2016 to really just start doing lots of independent projects, I researched and I looked at funding and all the different stuff, what was required. And it was just the same thing. You needed to have like this amount of broadcast credits and you
Yeah.
needed to have this and that, and that was only 2016, but in 2022 there's so many now, so
Right.
it's, I would say it's easier, but everyone's still applying for the same thing, so
Yeah.
your chances of getting it are still slim.
Exactly.
So that's why I just decided to also self-fund my own projects as well. And yeah, it started off humble beginnings, I'll say that. But I always say the content was there because it was well
Yeah.
received, and we went off like that, and it just worked its way to where all the stuff of my projects are now, where they're doing really well. Was that the same for you when you did your short film Jasper back in 2015?
Yeah, I mean, Jasper, what was it? The one I think I did two before that, which was The List, and Grace. Jasper, they literally were all self-funded projects, and just ideas that I came up with that I thought, I'm just going to get some people on board. One of my best friends at the time, Stephen Haycock, he's moved to America now, but when he was in the UK, he had a camera.
Oh, yes.
He had a camera, and a friend of mine who I worked with had some sound equipment. It was just about getting people together and just making something. And that was how we started. It would maybe be a day, maybe 2 days. We'd just figure out a time when everyone was free and just make something. And those were like fun times, Those were when there was like no pressure and,
Yes.
you just get some friends together and make something. But, as you kind of progress, things get, more expensive in terms of kit. Things get more complicated in terms of schedules and type of actors that you're working with. It's a tough thing, but I look back on those days and smile.
No, it's a good point, because in those days you have so much fun, but then it's like your reputation gets bigger, so then the expectation of your work gets higher, and so you have to essentially step up, so it's not going to be the same kind of environment and the vibes that you had before. But I mean, Jasper went on to do really well. It got into the Oscar qualifying film festival, the Pan African Film Festival, so that must have been great. Were you able to fly out to the festival as well?
Yeah, I did. That was the first time I was in Los Angeles, and I've been back 3 or 4 times since, because I realized it's such a huge hub of people that you can network with. And what I loved about Los Angeles is that I guess it's progressing a little bit more here in the UK, but they're very open to the type of films that you make. If you're making a film with an entirely black cast, it will still travel very well. Whereas a little bit, I think if you make a film with entirely black cast, they kind of maybe pigeonhole it into certain film festivals, and it might not travel as well. And yeah, I find America a bit more open. I think with Pan African Film Festival specifically, the fact that I went out there, they took us to the Directors Guild of America, and we were able to pitch to them and just have conversations with them. It was just it's just a different world, And I found it just really encouraging. I was like, oh man, I've got to come out here again and network, and I've got to meet people and maybe base my career here, because it's so forward thinking.
No, I get it.
I can see why a lot of actors are going out there and we're losing some of our talent, because of that point, they're really open to UK filmmakers and actors and talent in general.
I understand, because when I went to the American Black Film Festival in 2019, I was blown away, because the amount of people you meet, and everybody is so hungry, and the drive and the American dream is so different. So it's just like you look to your left and right, and there's so many talented people, and you can network, and everyone's really open to pushing people to get to where they want to be. And so that it's complete. It's a definitely different energy to the UK. So when you leave America after being there and being around all these amazing creatives, it just pushes you to want to do better. There's this fire in your belly, like, no, I need to really get to it.
Absolutely.
But I get why we're always running to America, because they just push everyone forward. But then it's just like, if we keep leaving, then the UK is still going to be in the same position. So because I was on a panel the other day, I was hosting at an advertising agency and had great creatives there, you know, the guys from Wall of Entertainment and stuff like that. And they were all saying that they're not going to go to America. They're going to stay here and push that and actually create the market that we deserve to have over here, you know.
Yeah.
So it's like what you're saying about having an all black cast and it being quite difficult to push, you know. As long as we just kind of create more shows, like with Rap Man Show, it's going to be on Netflix, and Riches coming out on ITV. I hope this is the beginning of something, you know, because I always say the UK is like 40 years behind America. So
I would say we're definitely catching up.
Yeah,
catching up. I mean, this I was talking about before, but I mean, you know, in the last not even very long. I mean, it's been about 2 years or something. We've seen the rise of certain black film festivals being included on the BAFTA qualifying list, and we've seen a real surge towards funding black talent. It's been a big difference in the last 2 years, huge difference, and I hope it continues that way, because we really need to keep our talent here in the UK, and we're in danger of losing a lot of people. Which is a shame.
But what they also need to do, these commissioners, stop putting shows on at 11 p.m. at night.
Yes.
Look, because Judy Love has a documentary which just came out this week, which was about black women being invisible, and it sounds great, but then it was on Monday at 11 p.m. Who's watching that? Like, most of us are in bed. Like, who wants to watch something like that? Why is that not on at 8 p.m. or 9 p.m.? Why is that not on prime time? You know,
did they do that to a Johnny's pilot as well?
I think so, yeah. But a lot of us watched it online on iPlayer. So because you could watch it on iPlayer first, and I think that's the same thing Channel 4 did. It probably was on like 4OD and stuff, but. If you're going to commission something like that and it has an important message to, inform and educate the audiences, then why don't you put it on a prime time, not
decent
just
time, give it a chance.
Yeah, exactly. So
the amount of things I found on catch up that when was this on?
Exactly.
It's really good, like really crafted.
Exactly.
Projects.
Yeah, exactly.
Just never heard of.
Well, you also did get your film Class 15 commissioned by B3 Media Talent, and also in 2015. What was it like getting commissioned, but also developing that as well? Because it was also funded by Creative Skill Set, so it's like, what's it like working in that kind of environment where you got to follow notes and guides?
Yeah, this was my first project where, I actually sent it to a scheme, the early draft of the script, and I was thinking, it's going to be in a room anyway. It's going to be in a room, so I can do it whether they turn it down or not. Whereas I think the fact that I'd done maybe 3 projects beforehand and I had a relatively decent script, they were just like, oh, okay, let's give this guy a chance. And the scheme was made up of maybe 15 writer-directors, I think, and from that they choose maybe 3 projects to go through. So I basically just worked my butt off to just
good
to just hopefully get one of the 3. And I think it was because it was actually kind of doable. Nice. And because I'd improved the script so much. I shout out to Mark Booth. He ran the course. He still runs B3 Media. And he basically gave me the permission to try and write something that was a bit more personal, and I think that's what came about with the next couple of drafts. It was just like, okay, how can I make this more about my life and my experiences and things like that? And once he put that in my brain to do that, it changed the script so dramatically, and I think that's why he ended up choosing me in the end.
Nice. So what is it about? What is Class 15 about?
So if you haven't seen it, Class 15 is about a mother who meets her daughter's teacher in a classroom, and it's over a parents' evening. Chaos ensues. But it's online. It's actually online at the moment. So I don't want to go any further than that, but please check it out. It's something probably my favorite short film I've made so far.
Nice.
So.
And how did you get Sharon Duncan Brewster to be part of it? Because she's been in Star Wars, Dune, like that's big.
Sharon, wow. Sharon came about through, no one's going to believe me, but I think I actually reached out to her on social media.
Wow.
And I told her, I wrote this script with you in mind, which she was really flattered about, because obviously I had the backing of B3 Media, who obviously have a good reputation. And I'd seen her in the first series of Top Boy. I saw how amazing her performance was. Wrote the script with her voice.
Oh, wow.
You know, when you kind of write something, you're like, okay,
Yeah.
you know. So I think if she said no, I would have struggled to find someone, because it was just wrote with her in mind, basically. But yeah, I think I reached out to her. It wasn't easy.
Okay, yeah.
Even with, you know, direct contact. I didn't know she was working on Star Wars at the time.
Oh, wow, okay.
And she was that humble to reply back to me and be like, oh, cool, yeah, you got the script, you know, send it over to my agent, you know, and I'll read it. Didn't hear anything for a while. Assumed that she wasn't interested. Did a few follow-ups. I think much later I realized that she was actually working on Star Wars and working on these other big projects, but it took a long time to kind of, you know, get sign. And I think it wasn't even her. I think it was just her agent pushing her to do bigger projects. I think she was quite passionate about whatever project she wanted to do. But yeah, and yeah, I'm just so proud of what she's done since. I mean, oh my God, she's doing some amazing things right now. So yeah, shout out to her.
No, I think it's a great that you shared that story, because people sometimes think, oh, it's impossible to try and get these actors, and it is more doable than people think. Because last year, I was working on a short film which unfortunately got cancelled just due to everyone's availability. But we were pitching to Nonso Anonzi, who was in Game of Thrones and is on Sweet Tooth on Netflix, and you know, the writer wrote the short film with him in mind as well. So was able to get, I was the producer, so I was able to get in contact with his agent. You know, we told her, look, this is low budget and you can offer him this. And she was just like, okay, well, you know what? Send over the script and we'll see what he says. And we sent it over. We waited. And we kind of really pitched it in a way that, okay, we have this amazing director who's done this. We've got amazing producing team. They really hyped it up to make sure that they're not dealing with amateurs, you know, like people who are very established. And then she came back and said he loved the script and wanted to meet us. And then we had a Zoom, and this was peak lockdown early last year. And he loved it. And, you know, he was really nice, you know, really humble about it, and really just loved, because he could relate to the story because of his culture and stuff. And so unfortunately, I said it got cancelled just because of the director's availability and his availability at the time. But it showed me and gave me more confidence that, okay, look, you can get them. And, you know, as long as you guys are really professional and just make sure everything, because you got your I's and your T's dotted and crossed, then you can do it. And so, I think it's great that you shared that story. And, you know, guys listening, like, just do it. Just make sure you have everything.
It's doable.
Yeah.
You just have to be, you know, it's not even just the script as well. You just have to be very clear about how you're going to shoot it, who, you know, type of crew you're using, the fact, you know, so they're not stepping on set and it's just like, you know, a bunch of students making a film, you know.
Exactly.
They can see it's going to be, you know, nicely professionally done. They love the script. You know, they get along with you as a person. Then why not? You know, they can make something in 2 days. They you know, they can make space for you.
Exactly. So from doing the, you know, Class 15 film, and was it then that you went on to do the shorts to Feature Scheme in 2017? Or was there anything else?
Yeah, I had a feature, because I you know, I was hoping Class 15 would do well. I guess which it has. I mean, it's only just come out online maybe a month now, but I made that film, a couple of years ago. And
yeah, quite a while ago.
for a few years, I was holding on to the idea that I was going to make the feature, and
Okay.
I sent the short film to the scheme, the shorts to features, and they loved the short and they wanted to see what I wanted to do with it. So I actually wrote the feature film of Class 15. I guess I wrote it on the scheme, but for whatever reason, it didn't quite work out.
Okay.
I still got the script, but there's something else that I became a little bit more passionate about, and not to say that Class 15 may, it won't happen. It might still happen, but something else is kind of taken over.
Yes, which we can get into now,
which
actually.
is what happens, yeah.
Because I mean, I like how you've really focused primarily on those two projects, Jasper and Class 15, and you've been really working to get both of them to become a feature film. And Jasper is now in early development of a feature film, isn't it, with the BFI network. So how did that come about?
I'm trying to think. Yeah, I think the last time I saw you actually was at the BFI London Film Festival.
Yeah, and that was 2019.
Yeah.
It's crazy because it doesn't feel like it was that long ago, but
it's
it was.
So quickly. I actually met someone there who I can't remember what I really can't remember what he did, but we, after a screening,
yes, I remember because we saw Atlantis. You know that film?
Yes,
I
remember, yeah.
Now, I did enjoy it, but we're not going to get into that now. But I remember...
story.
Yeah. But I remember that was a screening. And I remember you talking to somebody on the side. I remember, and he was quite... Yeah, he's quite established, but I can't remember his name too.
Yeah, I got to talking to him, and I think we're talking about making stories that personal for your first film, and I think that was much because I did end up pitching the Class 15 script to him, and he was just like, I mean, it sounds good. It's not, it doesn't sound like it's your personal story. Your first feature should be very personal to you. You're only going to get one chance for the BFI, and I think when he said all this, and we had a nice coffee and stuff, and he basically talked me through how things kind of work. I basically went back to the drawing board, and I had a strong idea about. I did Jasper as a short film, but it was about taking that character and putting him in another space, which was a little bit more personal to me. So it was more. I think the short film was like a dad and two daughters, and their relationship. And this one's a bit more about my relationship with my dad, and I hadn't seen my dad in a long time because he lives abroad, lives in Trinidad. So I took a trip, having not seen him in a very long time, and we kind of got to know each other as adults over there. And yeah, I basically came back with so many ideas. And I wrote them down, and as soon as I got back, I was like, okay, here's like a kind of short treatment, which I sent to the BFI network. And they really liked it. And yeah, I got onto their BFI, what was it called? Early Stage Development Fund, which they gave me a bit of money towards writing the treatment, and then just like a visual treatment, a visual document, or whatever it's called. And and then they signed it off, and I'm basically going back to them at the moment as we speak, and just seeing if I can do the next stages with them. So
nice.
Yeah.
Well, that sounds great. So what's it been like though? Because you signed that in 2020, and that's peak COVID time. So what's that progress been? Have you just been writing and you work with their team and they kind of give you feedback, or where are you at this moment?
I mean, during the time of the BFI network, it was during COVID. So it was a perfect time for me because everyone was at home.
Yes.
You couldn't leave the house or do anything. So this was perfect for me to actually just sit and focus on what I wanted to write. And Aviz Matthew Ajani.
Oh yeah, I know.
He was overseeing my project, and came back with so much great feedback. So yeah, it was great. It was very slow, obviously, because I think before that they would do, you know, meetings face to face, and it was just about trying to find time for,
Mm-hmm.
you
Mm-hmm.
know, to do Zoom chats and things like that. So it was a little bit, it wasn't as, um, it was, what did I say? I think they had a bit more time for
Mm-hmm.
people then,
Okay.
whereas now is a bit more like, I think you were there maybe like a few days a week before
Okay.
COVID, whereas now it was just like maybe once a week if you're lucky. You know, maybe speak to them once every 2 weeks, but yeah, it was still useful. Still got what I needed out of it, and yeah, I'm still happy with. But yeah, once they signed it off, I went away and actually wrote the script because I was just waiting for them to just,
Okay.
you know, it was
Yeah,
just
that's
that
it.
long. The whole process just
Okay.
felt like about
Mm-hmm.
9-10 months. It was,
Wow.
I think it was only supposed to be maybe 3 months,
Mm-hmm.
so it was just a very slow process.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I went away and wrote the script anyway. So
Nice. So
um,
where does it go now? Because I know you're still in the early stages. So what
yeah,
happens now? Do you then try to find a production company to produce
yeah. I
it, or do
mean,
you work with them? Like, how does
hmm
that work?
it's. I mean, I didn't know this before, but I thought you had to have an agent to send it to companies and things like that. You just needed, um, you know, a decent producer.
Okay.
And you know, I'm currently working with Nicola Gregory, um, who's, you know, doing really well. She's I think she is producing Dreaming Whilst Black, the new
Oh
series.
yes, I know her. Yeah, yeah, I know who you're talking
Yeah,
about. Yeah, yeah.
she's done quite a lot of projects. But yeah, she came on board as a producer, and both, you know, we sent the project to the BFI. There's the BFI and then there's the BFI network.
Mm-hmm.
There's two different. So we actually sent it to the BFI. So yeah, we're just waiting and you know, hoping for the best. But yeah, I mean, we got a couple of plan Bs and Cs
Of
and things like
course.
that. But I
Yeah.
mean, that's where we
Mm-hmm.
are right now. But yeah, I mean, so excited about this project. Really excited. And yeah, I'm starting to think, you know, who will play in the cast, and starting to think about locations, things like that. But yeah, fingers crossed it
Nice,
will
nice.
come
Well, hopefully
together.
you get a good budget as well.
Yeah, yeah,
A
yeah.
good, decent
Hopefully,
budget, you know. And
hopefully.
would you want to do the film festival route with it, or try to just get distribution to get like on
Yeah,
Netflix or
I think
Amazon
as a
Prime
first
and
film, I
stuff?
think it will be film festivals
Okay.
first. You know, create the buzz, and then
Mm-hmm.
hopefully distribution. But yeah, I mean, you know, if you do it under the BFI, you know, they you know, they obviously got their streams of distribution. If you do it BBC Films or
Mm-hmm.
Film 4, etc. But you know, if you do it independently, I mean, it's up to you. There's a lot of different
Yeah, yeah.
avenues
Mm-hmm.
that you can take. So
Yeah, I think within the network that you're in, it'd be best
hmm
if it can be with like BFI. At least you know it
mm,
could be at the London Film Festival next year
yeah,
or the year
yeah,
after that. You know, that's a great space and loads of people will see
yeah,
that. You know,
yeah,
and you
absolutely.
know, and that's the thing. What I like what you've mentioned as well is that, you know, it's the waiting game. Like everything is so slow, like,
Oh
you know,
man.
so slow. Like there's so many things that I have been in development of in the last few
hmm
years and stuff. And because I'm taking a break from film, it's like, okay, yeah, I can get back to that
Yeah.
whenever. But it's like one feature film that I have been attached to is called Stag, and that's a horror film. Great concept,
hmm
but then it's like, I know this is going to take years because it takes years so much with the development stages of it. The script is great, but then you have to go through so many hoops, and then it's the funding and trying to find who's the best company to work with, because
Yeah.
it's like you can have your own company, but then when you don't have, I don't know if clout is the same word, but if you don't
hmm
have the investment
hmm
for yourself in terms of the money, you're not just able to just, you know, go and fund the money, you know,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
project. Like, and we need at least 100K just to make it, you know. So,
So
and
hard.
I mean, I respect so many filmmakers who are tired of doing short films and they just make a feature film on a 10K
hmm
budget. That's great for you.
mm
I respect you, but I couldn't deal with that stress.
mm hmm
10K for just a short film is
mm
just like, I want to kill somebody. So I
Yeah.
can't imagine on like, you know, on a feature film scale, you know. And I
Yeah.
want, like what that guy said to you about when it's your first feature, you want it to be personal and you really want it
Yeah.
done right, you know.
Yeah.
So
You
I
just
totally get
you
that.
want to do it right. You want to do it properly. You want to hopefully have some sort of distribution or an idea of where it's
Yeah,
going to go. So
exactly.
you know, so it's just not sat on your computer somewhere,
Yeah.
and you know, so I mean, that's what I wanted to do really. And you know, 100% you're right about how long things take. I mean, I think as a, I think as an art form, it's can be the most difficult because with if you're an artist and you're a painter or whatever, you can just do that whenever. But it's hard to get that level of experience without making films, and you need money to make films, and you need crew to do this, and
exactly.
So things take so much time, and and I feel like I was in a rush to do things many years ago, and I think it's only now I'm like, oh, okay, there's Ava DuVernay, who or maybe Ridley Scott. There's a lot of people who didn't get their success until much later on, and you need to look at that as well. That there is a reason why it took that long. They still need to get their shorts out the way, their experience. Maybe they did a film that didn't do very well, and then it's just a long time, a long process.
And sometimes people just change careers, like they've decided in their 30s, actually I want to do directing and stuff like that. Or I think sometimes as a filmmaker there's sometimes not room for you to explore what you actually want to do. It's like you get in and people just tell you, okay, this is what you need to do, and you need to work your way up, when you might start in a position and realize, actually, I don't want to do this, I want to do that. So, but sometimes you're just on this kind of journey where you've just got to, work your way up. You need to be here by there, or if not, all this time is gone. And so for me, I feel like I'm in that same position now as well. As like I'm allowing myself to figure out where I actually want to be and how I want to do it. So
off the back of that, I mean, you've done quite a lot of things in terms of like, you're writer, producer, you direct. And, I mean, what was that kind of a deliberate thing? Was like, I want to be across quite a lot of things, or are you more like, oh, it's because maybe you can't get a certain amount of funding to do this, or maybe I have to do certain things, or what sort of space are you in terms of what you want to do?
Well, when I first started doing independent stuff, like all the time, and I knew, I needed to establish my brand and establish who I was as a filmmaker to get to where I wanted to be and get the money. I didn't really have any connections independently at that time. I only had connections who were in TV. So it's not like I could go to my friends at work and be like, so can I? And they would be like, no, what are you doing? And I was only like a runner at that time. So there's no way I would have been able to do that. It'd only have been people on my level anyway. I mean, some people have been able to do that as a runner, and I didn't have the charisma or charm to do that. I was quite shy and introverted and still trying to figure out, like, how can I speak to an exec and actually just see them as a colleague and just have an everyday conversation. So I knew writing was always what I wanted to do, because I would come up with concepts and ideas, but then I always knew that I can produce because I'm always very organized, understanding budgets, and can put a project together. And then directing, I never have enjoyed directing because I just did it as a necessity, and I was just, let's do it. So that's why I was doing all three. Then because I started off in web series, and because it started to build and I started to gain traction and an audience and stuff. So I was then able to reach out to people who was a fan of their work and stuff. And because we had won awards and stuff, and we had won Screen Nation, a lot of more eyes were on it. So I was able to then start to get more DOPs on board who were really talented, because I was shooting it with other people, and I'm not a DOP, but like, but I just had to do what I had to do at the time, and then brought on a DP, and then started bringing in directors and stuff. And so that helped a lot to take where I wanted the shows to go, because I ended up doing 4 web series. And so the more I built my brand and my name, more people want to work with me, and more people were pitching ideas to me. So then I'd be able to just come on as an exec producer and then just handle it like that as a producer. So I took more of a step back writing and then just produced.
And I remember, I think when we first met, you were you've been pretty consistent.
Yeah.
Because you were like, I want to step back from directing. I
Yes.
want to give people opportunities. I was like, wow,
That's it.
really
I remember
cool,
saying
because-
that. That was when
Yeah,
we
I
met.
remember.
That's
Yeah.
what I was saying at that time because I've just never enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Even when I was at university, my university friends, they kind of forced me to direct only because I could get it done. So a lot of people have said I'm known for just being able to get things done, and so I can churn things out. And people just like, how do you do it? And I'm just like, well, I just do what I have to do. So now it's more in a perspective where, okay, I've done all that. I've been able to work with other great people. I've been able to take on their projects and distribute it and put it out there for my company and stuff. And now those projects have gone on to certain great rooms, and now they're pitching to networks and stuff like that. So now I'm like, okay, so what do I do for myself now? Because I'm not enjoying producing. Producing is something I can do as a job. So I'm currently in advertising, so that's easy for me to just do. But what is my passion as well?
Yeah.
So I know that I still want to write. So I need to actually get some inspiration and decide actually what I want to write about. Because if I decided to write now, it'd be terrible because I have no. So it's like taking a step back.
Yeah.
Travel, see the world, do other things, experience new things. For so long, I've just been working to a certain goal, and I'm like, okay, what is that goal now? So that's where I'm at.
Right.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you're working things out.
Yeah, working things out.
Yeah, that's
So,
exciting as well. I
Yeah.
mean, it's to the drawing board and coming up with ideas. I mean,
Exactly.
that's great.
Exactly.
That's great.
So speaking of branded content, because I'm currently working in advertising, which is interesting. I keep saying it's a brief stint because look, they're crazy over there. And it's not really something I'd ever want to get stuck into. Maybe if I'm like 50 years old, I'm like, you know what? I want to slow down now. Let me just go into a normal advertising job.
Yeah.
You've done a lot of branded content. You've directed online commercials for like Netflix, Virgin, 3 Mobile, Kiss FM, Comic Relief, and stuff like that. So, what do you think of directing branded content compared to film? Like, what's the differences?
Yeah, I mean, it's. I work under a company called Bauer Media, and I mean they have loads of brands underneath them. So, so they own Kiss, they own Magic Radio, they own Absolute, Heat Magazine, Empire. Right. They own everything.
Okay,
so,
right.
So I'm always shooting something or the other for them, pretty much. I'm one of their the usual people that get in. But I mean, I would say I've done maybe 1 or 2 music videos.
Nice.
And I realized that I think I realized early on that because there's a lot of things that I put in the music video that I necessarily didn't want to, and the artist was insistent that certain shots and certain things would be in there, and I realized it. Well, basically it's not my film. So, and then the same goes with promos and adverts. A lot of the time you want to put your creative stamp on certain things, and you don't have that kind of creative autonomy to do that. So that's why I've been focusing on my own films. Because you can do whatever you want.
Exactly.
Really. It's
That
your money.
just puts food on the table. That's how I see it. So I get
it's
it.
just food on the table, but it's great. It's because I have had quite a long break between making projects. It has kept my skills up. I will say that, but it is just keeping me going, basically.
I understand. So besides Jasper, what else have you got going on?
Yeah, so I've got a new short film, which hopefully, I say it'll be my last. You never know, But I've got a new project I'm shooting in. It's got to be 2 weeks.
Oh, okay.
2 weeks from now. So we've done rehearsals. It's a film called The Mediator. I'm not gonna tell you what it's about yet, just yet. Maybe after the film's made. But we got a really good cast. We were supposed to shoot it. It's probably been the 3rd time we've had to change dates, only because people's schedules, as you said earlier. And again, it's down to the caliber of
Yeah.
people you got
Of
on board.
course. Yeah.
They're very busy. If they, if a Netflix
Yeah.
project comes up, they're going to take the Netflix project.
course,
They're not
of
going to do your
course.
short film
Exactly,
for a weekend.
exactly. Look, that's our greatest fear as filmmakers. Like, these actors could get cast in anything, and you're like,
Anytime.
shit. So you have
They
to
could
go
get
back.
the phone call tomorrow,
Exactly,
and then or
exactly.
they're immediately off your project.
Exactly.
But yeah, so this is
Mm-hmm.
second time we've had to change the date, so third time lucky, hopefully.
Okay.
But yeah, it was supposed to shoot over the summer, it didn't happen.
Okay.
So yeah, 2 weeks. We've done rehearsals anyway.
Okay.
Everyone seems really happy.
Mm-hmm.
Still a few things to work out in terms of can the DOP still
Yeah,
commit to the dates.
Gosh,
But,
yes.
we'll work it out.
Okay. Well, good luck. I hope it all goes well and no more changes.
Yeah,
Exactly.
hopefully.
And where can people find your stuff and follow you online and stuff like that?
Yeah, you can check out my website, deanleonanderson.com. I think that's my Instagram as well, at Dean Leon Anderson. Twitter is Mr. D.L. Anderson, I believe. If you want to watch Class 15, it's actually on my website, or if you just type in Class 15 Dean Leon Anderson on YouTube, you'll find it.
Nice.
Yeah.
And I was thinking on the way here, how we first met was it was at a BAFTA event in 2019. And I was talking to Nosa, Nosa.
Yeah.
And then she was like, "Oh, Dean," and I was like, "Okay, well, I'll follow her."
Oh, cool.
And then we just all started chatting. And then I remember, then I saw Johnny, and then he was coming. I was like, "Oh, hey!" And then we all just ended up hanging out. And then she saw her friend Yolanda, who's also Yolanda Mercy, I think I said her name is. She's doing amazing things with Channel 4. And yeah, I remember we all just kind of hung out that whole event, and then that was a really cool event. So I remember that's how we first connected, and that was like 3 years ago now.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It's so important to go to these events because you're meeting people that are kind of on your level, or you're meeting people that help you out as you progress in your career. And yeah, I was just listening to a Barry Jenkins podcast the other day, and he was talking about Moonlight and how it got to plan B, and I think he took a break from filmmaking, and he was just like interviewing filmmakers for the New York Film Festival or something like that, and he was interviewing Steve McQueen and Brad Pitt for was it 12 Years a Slave?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and obviously he got to talking to Brad Pitt, and Brad, what do you want to do, and that's how his film got made under Plan B.
Wow.
So it's just important to go to these events because you're always meeting people. They could potentially fund your film. You can fund their film. You can't do that, but you can't do that at home.
No. Exactly.
So the fact that we all went to that event and we're all doing just amazing things right now, it's just exciting, man. We're all still supporting each other.
Exactly.
It's exciting time.
No, it's true. And I remember because we just all ended up clicking as all the black people together.
Yes.
Which, it just happens. But, to meet the caliber of everybody within the 5 of us within that day was great as well.
Yeah.
So, yes, that was really cool. So,
really exciting. Really
well,
exciting.
thanks again, Dean, for coming on the show. It was
I
great
appreciate
catching
it.
up
Thank you.
and, just hearing more about your career and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing Jasper when it does.
I'm hoping to interview you because Nate and Jamie and Newlyweds. Well, I mean, what's happening with that? So you're the pilot and
yes. So I did the pilot for Newlyweds, and the listeners, if they've already heard this already, if you're a new listener, go back. I told the story of how. That was a really long process that took 4 years to get made. Well, to made and come out. So we just didn't have enough money to make it. That pilot cost $8,000 alone, and we needed about maybe upwards of $30,000 just to do the whole series. And I didn't know how I was going to do it. But I was able to combine 2 episodes into one, and then me and the director and the actors really had to work hard on the script to make it flow and work natural. So it's just like, I just was like, I'm just going to pull it out We did the same with a web series that I exec produced called Talia Versus. We did a pilot for that, and then we put it out. I handled the whole film distribution, and yeah, just really kind of took it from web series to now where it is now, being like an option for a pilot. Just I made it so visible so that everyone could see it, and then it took on a life of its own. So now it's just enjoying the film festival run for Newlyweds. I was rebranding Nate and Jamie as like animation, as a comic book, but unfortunately that didn't work out due to just some bad people who didn't do the product to a high standard. So I'm just taking a break with that, and we'll get back to that. But I am rewriting that just to kind of take it in a different direction, just to be able to have it potentially as a show, have loads of scripts ready for it, and just kind of keep pushing like that. So, but like I said, I'm still just trying to, just rejig my career and get some inspiration behind it as well. And who knows, I might want to write different kind of content as well. But I'm just enjoying Newlyweds' film festival run. It's quite slow now because of how film festival market is. Everything is either closed or reopening now, so things will kind of pick up in the spring as well. So hopefully it gets into some big festivals.
It's a great film as well.
Thank you.
Really well shot. Love the acting, performances. So check that out as well.
Yeah, thank you.
If you can, it's really good.
Yeah, thank you. So that's it really. I just think it's just enjoying where I'm at now. I'm just putting it into festivals, and then we'll see from there. So hopefully it does well, because everyone puts blood, sweat and tears in their project, but this really took blood, sweat and tears because COVID happened, and it just was. It kept on getting pushed back, and so much went through it. So it was just crazy. So Well, thanks again, guys, for listening. You can follow me all on my usual socials. You know them. There's a bunch of them. And stay tuned for the episodes coming soon.